Hello everybody and welcome back. We have a cracking race for you tonight. We are back with the League of Speed with Tier 2. Unfortunately I didn't record qualifying, but we basically got one lap in before it started raining. So I didn't get a great lap. It put us 5th on the grid. So let's go. 5 lights and away we go. Not a bad getaway. Again, it's always that second phase that lets me down, but we're holding 5th, so let's stick with that. As Jason brakes nice and early, we go at the inside, but he does hang it around on the outside. We go wide. We decide just to run off the circuit, give him plenty of room. We don't want any first lap incidents. As we pop to a replay once again. Clean getaway from everyone. My teammate is having a look at taking the lead, but can't quite manage it. As you see, a few more people running wide behind us as well. The two leaders start gapping us right away. This McLaren in front of us, straight away, as you can see, is holding both me and the Mercedes in front behind. And we've also got an Alpha behind us on medium compound tyres. So we don't want to lose a position to him. We need to gap him as soon as we possibly can. And again, we are running slightly more downforce, slightly higher wings than the guys around us. So it'll help us through the corners and help us with tyre temperatures. But it is leaving us vulnerable in a straight line, unfortunately. As we can see, we're just hanging in behind these two, but Jason in the Mercedes is all over the back of this McLaren, but he's really struggling to find a way past, unfortunately. And as you can see, his battery light flashing already. He's used all of his battery up on this lap. We start closing in once more and start looking a little bit more on the offensive. Nothing doing into turn 1. But as we come out to turn 1, Jason decides he is very scared of us behind and does the wise and sensible thing and lets us pass. I think, in all fairness, he thought we had a better chance at getting past the McLaren, so decided to give us a go, and hopefully he'll be able to follow us through. As you can see, we do have a go, but we end up running wide. This McLaren is an absolute rocket ship in a straight line, and it doesn't help with our slightly higher wings. As you can see, he's just gaining so much on us down the straight. But as we pop to a quick fast forward now for the rest of the lap, we do start catching him slowly. We are struggling. We are having to use an awful lot of battery just to climb up onto the back of him. We don't have DRS just yet. Should be enabled this lap, hopefully. He's run out of battery already, but we're using a lot of ours just to stick with him. Down the start finish straight, that last sector and this turn 1 and 2, we're so much quicker than him, as you can see. It puts us all over the back of him. So let's see what we can manage around here. Let's just tuck in behind his gearbox. And hopefully, now DRS is enabled, we'll get that on him. So we get a pretty reasonable exit coming out of that long sweeping right hander, putting it rich and overtake. We do have DRS in the slipstream. We're gaining on him. He has a look at defending, but decides against it. And we have got the move done before the braking zone, as we end up outbraking ourselves slightly and almost opening the door for him there. But we do have the position. However, as we now find, we then struggle to actually pull away from him. We keep in touch-ish with the leaders in front, but they've already gapped us at this point with all this battling. As we make a mistake coming into the second to last corner, as you can see. But we're having to use so much battery, but we don't have that much to play with. Down the straights, especially, as you can see, the McLaren now has DRS as well. We're really struggling. And as the laps roll by, we end up overheating our front tyres so much and struggle with understeer. And it just compounds the problem. We do gap him eventually, but really our only relief is the Alfa Romeo on mediums, who manages to get past the McLaren as all these soft compound tyres start to die away. As you can see, we're just getting awful understeer everywhere, really, especially on the front left. As you're coming through here, we can't put the power down because we're just running wide. It's leaving us very vulnerable. And we're watching the Alpha behind because we know our straight line speed isn't that great, and we didn't get a very good run off the last corner. As we're looking to box this lap, he has a look at us, but we go defensive, force him round the long way. We give him plenty of space, keep it level peggings round the right-hander, and he just shoves us off the racetrack, forces us to cut the corner, and we get a 3-second time penalty for that. But we get a lovely run back at him. We get use all of our battery. We go at the inside, this flat out right-hander, and he just turns straight in on us. We nearly lose the back end of the cut. It's such a fast corner, just that little nudge. We're very lucky not to spin the car. And as we come out of here, as you can see, we end up losing the back end. We're just starting to struggle now. All that battling as well was just warmed the tyres up, put too much heat in them. So I think it is time to box. Let's do our one-stop strategy. It worked for us the other day, so let's go. And as we go into the pits, Jason, I have no idea how, ends up ghosting for us and overtaking us in the pit lane. So that's yet another smack in the face for us. Let's get on to these hards. We always feel so much more comfortable on the hard compound tyres. As we exit the pit lane, we put a bit too much power and we nearly bin it into the pit exit. That would have been a very embarrassing end to our race. We then cut the corner coming out and get another track limits warning. So this hasn't been a good lap or two for me, and it's starting to show. The frustration is creeping in with me, unfortunately. And the Mercedes has gapped us quite a bit already, a second and a half, and we just cannot keep pace with him. Even on the hards where we feel more comfortable, we just can't. We're struggling to keep up with him. He has much better pace than us. And throughout this whole race, on Thursday, I felt really good around this track. The pace felt really, really strong, and this evening we just struggled. I don't know where I was losing the time. I mean, I overheated the front tyres in the pits, or before we pitted, sorry, in the first stint. But even on the hards, I'm just struggling for pace. It's just nowhere to be found, and I'm at a bit of a loss as to where that is. But as we come, right as the laps roll by, we end up, the McLaren and the Mercedes end up having an incident. The McLaren just runs straight into the back of Jason. That gains us an extra position. It also puts us right onto the back of this McLaren now. And we know we're very strong through this second to last and last corner. So let's see what we can manage. We're going to have DRS coming down the start-finish straight. Get it hooked up really nicely. DRS and overtake and Rich, and we are going to get this position nice and easily. And there's an Alpha coming out of the pit lane. He's going slowly on cold tyres. We have a look at the inside, but he just doesn't check his mirrors and drives straight into us. I mean, I know he did have track position, but he was coming out the pits, and we've every right to have a look at the inside. I just don't think he looked behind him as he turned in. I don't think he realised we were there. So this race really has gone from bad to worse. As we go on to lap 14, we're just really, really struggling. But at the end of lap 14, the safety car comes out, and we have a decision to make. We do have a bit of a gap behind us, and we're thinking, might be worth, as Jeff suggests, going into the pits under the safety car, putting on some mediums to the end of this race. Just help us with our pace a little bit more. There's a pretty quick stop from the boys down at Haas. We managed to jump the McLaren of Angel. I believe he had a front wing change, and that's how we got out ahead of him. But as we come out, we're in 7th position, so we haven't lost too many positions at this point. Can't argue with that. And as we go to do a restart, as you can see, I had no prompts or anything saying the safety car was coming in. I certainly didn't notice. I didn't hear Jeff say either. And so we start warming up our tyres as everyone starts racing. And I'm starting thinking, hang on, he's just overtaken me under safety car. But the realisation dawns on me that we are back racing, and I've completely missed it. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but I'm kicking myself. So again, if you've just got to laugh at this point. My race is really not going so well at all. So all that effort getting past the McLaren, and he's now got straight back past us through our fault, unfortunately, as we have a few lapped cars that are ghosting. So let's try and get past those as quickly as possible. But as we go on to these medium compound tyres, we actually find that we struggle even more than we were on the hards. We just start overheating the front tyres, mostly the front left. That's the big culprit around here. And then we just start struggling for pace. I'm at a big loss this evening as to where my pace has gone. Really finding it quite difficult and quite frustrating, unfortunately. As the laps roll by, we just end up cutting the corner. You can see I'm just driving angry or just driving frustrated, not thinking clearly. We'll give ourselves another penalty. As we get to the end of lap 21 now, the skies are getting quite a bit darker. We've caught up with the Ferrari, who's been overtaken by the McLaren of Angel. And we get a much better drive out the last corner. We do have DRS. Let's use a bit of battery. And that is us up into 6th position. As we just managed to get it stopped for the first corner. So 6th position isn't too bad. I mean, I'll take it considering how badly this race has gone. But if you look at the skies, as I said, they are getting darker and darker by the second. Rain is due to hit by the end of the race, but it could be after the race, it could be a few laps, we don't know. It could be right now. And as Jeff tells us that rain is on the way imminently. And as we come into this fast right-hander, we see on the screen a few drops of rain starting. Yes, that is definitely rain starting to come down now. Jason in the Mercedes in front of us, he decides he's got wing damage. He decides it's worth a punt. Let's go on the intermediate tyres and see what he can do. So we set intermediate tyres ready. We're pretty certain we're going to swap onto them in the next lap or two, but we're not sure how much. But as you can see, by the end of the first sector even, it started to rain quite a lot. This rain has come in surprisingly quickly. I'd have thought it would have taken a few laps, but this time it's come in very quickly. And I'm strongly debating whether it's worth taking a chance on the inters. As Jeff tells us that it is nowhere near the crossover point. It is not worth going on intermediates. However, I don't tend to believe Jeff a lot of the time. It still feels grippy enough. We're looking at about 10 more minutes of rain. As Jeff tells us that it's raining for a bit more. It still feels grippy enough on these slicks, but it's not going to be too long before we go on intermediate tyres. As we come around this left-hander, we are in a party chat with Jason in the Mercedes, and he reckons the intermediates feel pretty decent. So he tells us pit for inters. So we decide we got nothing to lose as we just slide into the pit entry. We've got nothing to lose. Let's go on intermediate tyres and see what we can make. Exit now. Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those As we come out the pits, we do get overtaken by another AlphaTauri who is still on dry tyres, hards I believe. And we managed to stick with him even through turns 1 and 2, but this will be crucial. This will be interesting to see if he pulls away from us or if we can hang on to the back of him. We know we've made the right choice, and as we enter the first sector, he's sliding all over the place. It is slippery for me too, but he's just not got the grip that I do. As you can see, getting the power down, coming out of this awkward right-hander, we've got so much more grip than he does, and we've still got DRS, so it hasn't been disabled yet. As we're going to have a look, he does a bit of weaving. We decide to go at the inside, and we're going to have this position done well before the braking zone. We've got nice grip. We're quite confident on the brakes, and just as we do, DRS is disabled, so we know we have come in for Inters at exactly the right time. It was a great call by Jason to do so on that one. And we know that now that we are on Inters, most other people are on slick tyres. So as we see a couple of the leaders, including my teammate, pit for Inters. So we know we're going to be gaining time on them right now as we nearly lose the back end. Coming out of that fast right-hander, it's very difficult to put the traction down through there. We've got to avoid that curve on the right-hand side. We had a little practice in qualifying in intermediate conditions, and we realised that curb on the right is very, very slippery indeed. So we've got a few people that have come into the pits for Inters, including the leader Jamie and our teammate Rotem, who have just come out just about 5 seconds up the road from us. But there are 3 people ahead of them who haven't pitted at all for Inters. They are deciding that because we're on lap 25 or 27, that it's worth hanging it out there. Their pace is going to be nothing, but seeing if they can maintain any sort of track position and not lose any time in the pit stops. They're going to hang it out on the slicks, but we're just going to catch them so quickly here. As you can see, the time delta on the top left, we're just gaining so much time, and we can already see that one of the cars, the Ferrari, up ahead. He's slipping around all over the place. Fair play to these cars for keeping it on the track even. I think most of us would have ended up in a wall by now. But he's just got no grip at all. We half tempted to go out the inside, but we decide patience is key. We know we've got so much more grip, and he just can't get the car turned or any bite of traction to get out the corner. So that is an easy move in the end. So let's go chasing down. We've got McLaren and Alfa Romeo on the dry tyres. Let's chase them down and let's see if we can gain ourselves any more positions by the end of this race. We've already nearly caught the McLaren, as you can see in front. It's so much better drive coming onto the start-finish straight, even though our straight line speed isn't very good. But this is where our slightly higher wings is actually paying dividends. As you can see, we're so much more confident on the brakes. He's really struggling. And we just go all the way around the outside of the McLaren, even going on the curb. That's a beautiful move. But yeah, this is the first time in the race that I actually now feel confident in the car. I feel like I've got the grip and the pace over anyone else. We're staying in touch with my teammate and the leader as well. So our pace is really good in intermediate conditions, so it seems. And we've caught up with the Alfa Romeo already. Yeah, much better drive off the last corner. We give them plenty of space.
This is your final lap of the race.
Side by side into turn 1. We do just back out a little bit just in case. We know we've got plenty of time, but we are now on the last lap and we have just got that position done for the final podium spot here. So that was a very, very good call. We were in 6th place before we made that call onto intermediate tyres. And that's probably about right from where our pace was. We were just really struggling compared to what we normally do. But that early call onto Inders has really paid dividends right now. And we are reaping the benefits of that.
Current forecast is 5 or
We
10
just
more minutes
keep
of
it
rain
neat and
before it
tidy. We
dries
don't
up.
want to throw this one away. We probably don't deserve to be in 3rd position, but we will take it nonetheless.
The gap to the car ahead is
We do have 6
5.6
seconds worth of time
seconds.
penalties, but the guys behind us have 8 seconds and 6 seconds, I believe, as well. So we don't have to worry about them at all. Let's just get this to the finish. And we do have plenty of spare fuel and spare battery as well to use. We haven't really utilised that much in the rain. Hugging this corner, second to last corner. Let's get it stopped and turned for the very last corner. Jamie in the Renault comes across for his 2nd win in a row. Rotten, my teammate, comes across to finish second. And we are going to cross the finish line in 3rd position. Definitely wouldn't have predicted that one, the way that race was going. Everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong, but we came through strongly in the end and very satisfied with that. So there we have it, another podium. We're really on a roll right now. Even though our form wasn't here today, we still managed to snatch a podium at the very last minute. So it's Monaco next week, so yeah, looking forward to it, but dreading it too. That could be fun. But I look forward to seeing you all then. If you could please like and subscribe, that would be brilliant. And as always, I will leave you with a few screenshots from the race. Thank you ever so much. See you next time.